Hey, what's going on, Twisters? So for this video, I'm going to rank all 32 Winter Classic jerseys all the way up until this past Winter Classic. So for this, I'm going to use tier maker, but I actually did rank these 1 through 32. So we'll start our way at the bottom and we'll work our way to the top. Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments below. What are your top 3 or top 5 Winter Classic jerseys? And feel free to shout out other ideas you have for this channel. And also, guys, speaking of jerseys, I am selling over 50 of my own jerseys. Unfortunately, my dog Cortana tore her ACL in her left hind leg. I'll talk about this at this timestamp in the video further, so I'm raising some funds to help cover the surgery because this sort of thing is not cheap whatsoever, and I could really use your support. There are a number of ways you can do this in addition to buying jerseys, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. So we'll start at the very bottom at number 32, and I have the 2010 Philadelphia Flyers. Now, this is a more familiar look for them. It's a bit of a departure from what they were wearing for home and away jerseys, but there isn't a huge difference. It's not by any means a bad jersey. None of these are bad jerseys. As you see here, the bottom tier is the C tier. Not much more to it. It's not one out there that I would aim to collect. All right, number 31, I have the 2017 Blackhawks. Now, the Blackhawks, of course, have played in several Winter Classics. It's not too much of a departure from what they've been wearing as their away jersey, and there isn't a whole lot going on up top, too, so it's a little plain. Other than that, it's not by any means a bad-looking jersey. It's just not, again, as memorable as other Blackhawks designs. Number 30, I have the 08 Buffalo Sabres. Now, they weren't wearing this jersey for their, normal road games. At that point, this did throw back to the days of the 70s and 80s. It's not that different from the away jersey they wore at this exact time. It was just using a slightly different color scheme with the navy blue and a little bit of gray. Okay, number 29. This is a unique design. This is the Washington Capitals from 2015. For me, it's the shoulders. I mean, it's kind of weird to have all those stripes on the shoulders and then they don't continue down the arms. A lot of stripes we see on the arms of a lot of these outdoor games. I never was crazy about this. The overall uniform looks pretty good. All right, number 28, I have the 2024 Vegas Golden Knights. They had to be creative with this, given they haven't had too long of a history, of course. The numbers are unique, at least. I don't have this quite as high because I just don't really like the absence of a darker color in a lot of this jersey. It's just kind of that mustardy gold. I wouldn't aim to collect this one. All right, let's go into the B tier. So these are at least decent, respectable. A couple of these I would, consider collecting. In 27th, I have the 2020 Predators. This is a throwback to the Dixie Flyers. It's a nice design overall. It kind of sucks that there isn't like a real logo on the front of it, but it's a little bit different, and I think we can appreciate that. The logo that you see on the shoulder, that different Predators logo, looked great, and I like the numbers, the colors, the contrast, all of that is overall solid. Okay, 26th, I have the 2010 Boston Bruins. So I'm not as much of a fan of this specific logo, but I'm glad that they used it. It is a nice departure from the typical Bruins logo that we see. Using some of the darker brown from the beginning of the Bruins franchise, and a yellow jersey. I mean, you don't see too many of those in outdoor games, so I have to give them some credit there. Okay, 25th, I have the 2025 Blues. They had a couple of amazing outdoor game jerseys. This would probably be my least favorite, but again, I do appreciate that it's a bit of a departure from what we've seen in their other outdoor games. Now, the colors, of course, always great, the blue and yellow. I like having the blue note on the shoulders. The numbers, the banding on the arms specifically looks really good, and I like the typeface that they used on this overall. It's just that, yeah, again, it doesn't really have a splashy logo on the front, so that's what I typically prefer. Okay, now on to number 24, and for a lot of people, this is going to be too low for them. I have the 2020 Stars. It's just not by any means a memorable design to me. At least the logo on the front, despite not being like an actual branded Stars logo from previous eras, it does look nicely composed. It's just that it's a little bit plain on the arms, and I do like the little State of Texas that they had on the arms at the elbow there, but that's about it for me, really. Our next jersey is another green jersey. It's the 2022 Minnesota Wild. Now, when I first saw this, I made a reaction video, and I was like, what on God's green earth is this? Again, unless you know something about like past decades of Minnesota hockey, you're not necessarily going to understand this at point blank. Love the sweater collar, crazy out of place shoulders, and they had the tan on the elbows. but it is kind of one of a kind. It is a bit of a monstrosity. Okay, now our next jersey is the 2011 Capitals. This, of course, being a throwback to their original uniform from their inaugural season up until the mid-90s. I actually really like the jersey itself, pretty good. I am selling this one, by the way, without the Winter Classic patch. I love the uniform altogether. I think that looks really sharp, great contrast. I like the stars on the arms, and yeah, sure, it doesn't have that logo, chest logo that you would see from like the team they were competing against, the Penguins, but I just like this one. I like this look for the Capitals. My next jersey is the 2023 Bruins. The meth bear being on the front, you gotta love that. It's got some character there. I just didn't rank it any higher because to me, it doesn't really do anything else that seems unique to me for Bruins jerseys. I mean, Bruins jerseys have the colored shoulder yoke these days. On the arms, they look kind of like what it looks kind of like what I saw in 2019. So yeah, there's not a whole lot more that I like about this specific jersey besides the meth bear, but the Bruins had the stones to do it, and so that's why it's here. All right, now we're on to number 20, and we've got the 09 Red Wings. Overall, a really nice uniform. The jersey itself is a little plain, but this was a great jersey matchup between them and the Blackhawks. The stylized D there on the front, very symbolic of Detroit sports in general with the Tigers. A throwback to, their first few seasons as a franchise. Our next one is the Chicago Blackhawks at the end of our B tier, number 19 overall. Granted, this does look quite a bit like a Blackhawks away jersey still, but personally, I prefer this version of the logo versus what we saw 2 years later in 2017. And for me, I just really love the recolored tomahawk, typically the shoulder logo being moved onto the arms. For some reason, I just have always really liked that quite a bit. Yeah, for me, this one is solid, but for some people out there, it might be a little bit more forgettable versus other designs. Okay, we'll go to the A tier next, and kicking things off at number 18, I've got the 2023 Penguins. Kind of a low-key great design here, throwing back to the Pittsburgh Pirates, both of the MLB and of course the NHL back in the days of the 1920s, early 30s. I love the quilted logo here of the P. I love the interior collar of this as well. It's something that I wasn't expecting from Pittsburgh, and so when it came out, I was like, hey, you know what? I can get on board with this. It's unique and it's pretty memorable in my opinion. All right, 2019 Blackhawks come in at number 17. Some people think this might be too low. I wasn't really a fan of this at first, but at the end of the day, I mean, this is the Blackhawks without any red. This is throwing back to almost now 100 years ago. I also love how they had the Stan Mikita patch. And yeah, it's stripes on stripes on stripes, but I mean, that's kind of the point of these outdoor games. Love the sweater collar, if I didn't say that already. 16th, I've got the 2018 New York Rangers. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this jersey just by itself, but with the overall uniform, I think it looks very sharp. It's using the typeface, I believe the first typeface that the team used as an NHL franchise, or at least earlier in their history. Again, you got the sweater collar. I love the New York on like where the captain's patch usually is. That looks terrific. It's overall just well-composed, balanced jersey. All right, now on to number 15. I've got the 2016 Boston Bruins. This is quite a throwback, at least in terms of the logo and the design of that, to their days in the 1920s. And you've got the brown bear, right? The original color, dark color of the Bruins. This is a nice, unique, distinct design. I gotta credit Boston. They've done that for most of their outdoor games. All right, so now in 14th, I've got the 2022 Blues, an off-white Blues jersey. Yes, please, sign me the heck up. Got the great blue note with the felt in front. I love the way the numbers are done. The shoulder yoke looks terrific. Of course, this throws back to their days early as a franchise as part of the 1967 expansion, but again with the off-white to make things look a little bit more old school. And yeah, I'm actually selling this jersey as well. It's got Vlad Tarasenko on it, so take a look at that. All right, in 13th, I've got the 09 Blackhawks. This draws on, probably about 80 or so years ago. Historically, you got the numbers on the arms. I'm not always a fan of it, but I think that looks great considering we're not used to seeing that for the Blackhawks. Actually, I was gifted a replica of this without the Winter Classic patch, so thanks so much to our friend Nick from Windy City Hockey. And I also have to say that I like the captain's letter and the alternate letter in black, actually. That's something that I wouldn't typically expect, but they pulled it off great here. All right, now in 12th, I've got the 2011 Penguins. This might be up there among people's absolute favorites. It does look great. I'm a sucker for two-tone blue. You got this great felt logo from the classic era of the Penguins in the late 1960s, early 70s, wearing the scarf. I love that. The numbers look terrific, by the way. The detailing, the drop shadow. Was not expecting that from the Penguins, but they pulled it off in spades. And yeah, I'd like to see the Penguins, wear two-tone blue again in some capacity pretty soon. It looked excellent. And at the end of the A tier, I've got the 2014 Toronto Maple Leafs. And this, of course, being a throwback to their days, I believe in the 1930s into the 40s. You've got the floppy leaves, just so elegant. And I loved seeing this, especially because the Maple Leafs at this time were still using the pointy leaf logo from like the Matt Sundin era, which I'm not quite as much of a fan of. And yes, this was an overall good uniform and an even better jersey matchup. And we'll get to the other team in just a little bit. All right, so we've got our top 10 coming up, but before we do, as I mentioned earlier, I am selling over 50 of my jerseys, mostly NHL, to raise funds for my dog Cortana's upcoming surgery. So unfortunately, I was playing Frisbee with her the day after my little girl turned 11. She's in fantastic shape, and she started limping on her left hind leg. Now, 2 years ago, she actually tore the ACL in her right hind leg. And when that happens, it's more likely that they'll actually injure that other leg. And unfortunately, 2 years later, that's exactly what's happened. She's torn her left ACL. And 2 years ago, I spent over $5,800 right when I decided to become a full-time content creator. So this was very challenging for me, not just in terms of getting the money together to pay for her surgery, but also I have to rehab her every day, multiple times a day, and just slowly work her back to health. So yeah, this is gonna be something that's very costly. My initial vet visit here for x-rays and blood work, which needs to be performed for the surgery clinic, that was $1,290. So I cannot do this alone. I'm looking for a job right now too. So I am not comfortably scraping by at all. So if you can buy one of my jerseys, especially if you're in the States, because for those in Canada and in Europe, I mean, shipping is going to be astronomically expensive, but for those in the States especially, just see the video description down below or the pinned comment for links. I've got photos for every jersey. I've got a spreadsheet that shows you everything there. Everything's NHL licensed. Sizing, mostly medium, but mediums do fit long for like Reebok and Adidas, okay? So I'm 6 feet and I can wear a medium or even a small. I'm actually pretty comfortable in those too. I do have a couple of larger sizes as well. Now, if you don't want to buy a jersey, I understand there are other ways that you can help me. You could leave a super thanks on this video, but YouTube does take 30% of that revenue. You can do that. You can donate to me on PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App. I have that all in the video description and pinned comment. Alternatively, you can buy some Twisted Wrister hockey merchandise, hats, hoodies, shirts, all that good stuff. I'll earn a percentage of that. And you can become a Twisted Wrister hockey member, get some bonus content, share this video too, because really it's gonna take a lot of us to, raise the kind of money that we need to. I mean, we're talking about easily over $5,000, if not $6,000, $7,000. And your support will pay for her vet visits, for, of course, the cost of the procedure, for medications, for, additional follow-up visits, for additional x-rays, all of that. This is top-notch care. Cortana's my little girl. She's the mascot of this channel, and she's been the rock of my life for over a decade here. I'm gonna do everything in my power with the time that I have, and my time is very precious to make sure that she's back to being happy and healthy, because I sure as hell need her. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments about that, you can leave those down below, or you can email me. That's totally fine. Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate anything that you can do here, even if that's just sharing this video. And with that, let's get back to our rankings. Okay, now our next tier is the S tier as we get into the top 10. So we've got 7 jerseys here, and then we'll finish up with our GOAT tier with 3, my top 3. All right, so in 10th, we've got the 2025 Blackhawks. This is great. It's the first time in a Winter Classic that the Blackhawks have worn red, and it's altogether just a beautiful design. I'd be happy to see the Blackhawks wear this as an alternate or in some facet every year. I think that this is just great. I love, again, the tomahawks being on the arms, kind of like what we saw in 2015. I love the 4 red stars on there. which you see on the flag of Chicago as well. So that's a really nice touch. Balanced look overall. The collar itself is well put together. I love the little cross laces there. All right, now at 9th, I've got the 2012 Rangers. Wow, that is just a beautiful jersey, and I liked how the Rangers kind of borrowed this template in a sense for 2018. You got the off-white, of course, being a sucker for that I am. The numbers look really good too. Not the same typeface that we typically see from the Rangers, but altogether, great use of coloring, application of that. The jersey overall is very balanced, and so that's why it comes in 9th. In 8th, I don't know why I couldn't get a very good photo of the jersey altogether, but I've got a 2008 Winter Classic for the Pittsburgh Penguins. This jersey alone kind of made me want to collect jerseys. I used to have this, but unfortunately I did sell it off. But it's beautiful. Love the powder blue. It doesn't really have too many other elements, really, that I'd want to highlight, apart from me just absolutely loving the circular logo. And it's a very memorable game as well. So this one to me will always have a special place in my heart, and hopefully will make its way back into my collection eventually. Now in 7th, I have the 2018 Buffalo Sabres. Now at a glance, this doesn't look all too different from what they wore against Crosby and the Penguins in 08, but there are just some beautiful details here. I love the New York in the logo, and I like just the material that they used to make that logo all together. The shoulder logo also looks great to me. It's that different bison with sabers in the text, and I think that the striping on this as well, while the waist stripes I think are too far apart from each other, I'll look past that. I have nothing more to say really. It's just beautiful. It's in 7th. Then we get to 6th, and this is another one that I used to have, but I did sell off, and that is the 19 Bruins, the very dark brown, the felt fuzzy B. Absolutely love that. The Winter Classic patch for that year was terrific with the shamrock. You got the sort of bumblebee striping. I do love that quite a bit. Altogether, for a white jersey, this packs in as much color and aesthetic flair, I think, as you can get. And so that's why I have it here. All right, and in 5th, we've got the 2024 Seattle Kraken, of course, using the template from the Seattle Metropolitans back in the day. And actually, I'm wearing my Seattle Metropolitans sweatshirt here from Bench Clearers. Beautiful jersey. Works great with the Kraken's color scheme. I love the red S and how they put Kraken and how it's stylized like the Kraken's logo versus the Metropolitans. It's just a great fusion of eras, and you do have some of that off-white in there as well. All right, and the last jersey in our S tier, I could have maybe put it in the GOAT tier. It was very close, and I do have this one in my collection. That's the 2012 Flyers, easily the best Flyers jersey of all time. Man, the orange, the black, and the cream. I mean, as a San Francisco Giants fan, I do appreciate this quite a bit. And using just a more traditional template for a jersey, whereas the Flyers, they have the swoopy arms and that sort of thing. You got the felt logo, wonderful. You've got the shoulder yoke, good banding on the sleeves. Love the way that the name and numbers looked on the back as well. It's just one of a kind. It's maybe the best. I think it's actually, probably the best orange jersey that we've seen in the history of the NHL, and maybe the best orange jersey I've ever seen in sports. Sorry, Denver Broncos. All right, now on to our top 3, our GOATs tier. These are the cream of the crop, elite, magnifique. We start with the 2014 Red Wings, and this could be number 1. Unbelievable. I mean, the Red Wings haven't had too many unique looking jerseys in their history, but holy God, this is just a thing of beauty. The word mark or the letter mark or whatever you want to call it above the old school winged wheel kind of draws from the team's typeface that they use in their official word mark today, and also what they had on the back of their jerseys in the early 80s, I want to say, for just a couple seasons. The numbers, of course, being similar to that. It's just so well balanced. It's elegant. God darn it. I kind of kick myself for never collecting this jersey. It's nothing short of perfect, really. But these last 2 jerseys I actually do have in my collection. So we get to number 2, maybe the best white jersey I've ever seen. It's right up there. That's the 2016 Montreal Canadiens. With the lighter shade of blue, molding together eras past. I love how they put the globe on the arms. That is what they had on the front of their jersey for one season when they were the champions of the world. The quilted numbers on the back are sort of a reference to the design of the city of Montreal itself. And even if you don't actually know that, I still think that it looks absolutely beautiful. You have to respect that. And it does kind of match aesthetically with what they've done with the sweater collar in that stretchy red. It's a wonderful jersey. I got that jersey for like $40. It's one of my absolute favorite jerseys of all time, and arguably my favorite jersey of all time. It's right the hell up there. That is the 2017 Blues. This is a sight to behold. This beautiful powder blue, the off-white in the striping, the application of the numbers looks great. The numbers on the back look even better. Stretchy collar in gold. I am very happy to have this in my collection. I have a replica. It's Vladimir Tarasenko, and I know that the Blues have worn this since then in the Adidas era, and I think into Fanatics, but it doesn't look quite the same because of the collar. This to me is just gorgeous. Best Blues jersey of all time. I hope that it always stays at the top of my favorite jerseys in NHL history, but it's easily the best jersey I've seen in an outdoor game. All right, guys, well, what do you think of my rankings? What are your top 3 favorite from the Winter Classic? Let me know in the comments below. Feel free to shout out ideas for other videos, and also, of course, see the links down below for how you can help support me by buying one of my jerseys or by supporting the channel in other ways to help our efforts in getting my dog Cortana the care that she needs, and of course the recovery and everything that comes after that. I really do appreciate your support, guys, in however you can do that, even just by liking this video, sharing this video with other people. And of course, if you want to keep up with me in between videos, you can follow me on social media, and I'll put more information in the description down below for that too. All right, guys. Hey, thanks so much. I hope you had a good time watching this, and I'll see you around for the next one. Ciao for now.